Pete Thamel was reporting earlier that the SEC has directed Oklahoma to not play games against Georgia and Tennessee with upcoming non-conference games, including 23, and then of 31, they'll be in the SEC. And who knows, maybe they'll be in the SEC sooner than that. And also, with Georgia. And then Oklahoma was supposed to be in Knoxville in 2024. And who knows, they might be a part of the conference. Now, like Scotty B, among others, are going, this means they're leaving. And then Chris Nelson just said, I think a lot of people are overblowing that. And Dennis Scott, put up again, if you don't mind, because look at what he actually said. Announcement does not indicate movement sources on Oklahoma and Texas leaving the Big 12 early. That could happen. Of course it could, but not an indicator. Best guess is SEC close on its future scheduling structure and needs those Oklahoma, Georgia, Oklahoma, Tennessee games for competitive balance.
Okay, here's my question with this. I know we've done the whole song and dance on when Oklahoma and Texas are actually leaving. Why does this need to be such a behind the scenes, like will they, won't they, are they, aren't they? Like, why is this sneaky feeling? They're leaving anyways.
Yeah.
Like, so if they're leaving, like, why is there this sense that they're going to try to pull the wool over the Big 12's eyes again and, like, doing it by a year or two earlier? Like, what does it matter?
First of all, they can't pull the wool over the Big 12 eyes. They leaving early, the Big 12 would know.
I understand that, but that's what I'm saying is, like, why is all this speculation of, like, what are they doing in the, I guess it's because of the way it happened to begin with, but they take some games off the schedule. And everybody's like, oh, my gosh, are they trying to get into the SEC earlier? And I guess we're all just trying to find out when that's going to happen. But aren't they just going to announce that? Like, there's nothing to be sneaky about. Like,
But
does
then
that make
why
sense?
would they ask yes, it makes a lot of sense. But then why would they ask the game for next year and another game in 24 against two future SEC teams to not be played?
I get that. That's part of my question is why is this feeling sneaky? Like there's nothing to be sneaky about. Like if you want to leave next year, just say you want to leave next year and you're going to leave next year. Why does this feel like it's going to be like surprise on a Tuesday? We're leaving next year. Haha, you thought we were staying 2 more years. Why does it feel like there's that to this? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't feel that. I understand.
But that's what we're talking about, though.
No. What we're talking about is why would they do this if the SEC maybe do they know something so those games don't need to be non-conference? But again, there's going to be an announcement. It'll probably be a combo announcement with the Big 12 and the SEC and Texas and Oklahoma. I don't see under the like behind the dark curtain like we saw in July of last year.
I don't know if it.
The fans are treating it that way.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
And look, I
That's what I was getting at.
I get the sense of like there's two sides of me that are like this is just the first if that's the case, then this is just the first minor announcement of several announcements to come where some agreement has been reached about what year they're actually leaving if they want to do that early. But I also don't know if that would necessarily happen. I mean, this can be, again, just completely formulaic in that, like what Dennis Dodd said, of like, it's just because the SEC's figured out what they're going to do, and now they need those slots back to really make it work, and then it gives Oklahoma, particularly those 3 schools, time to find other non-con games.
Justin or Chris Nelson, but they didn't cancel Texas, Alabama. And that's the same type of scenario that if we look at Tennessee or Georgia and Oklahoma, then would they not have also done the same thing with Alabama and Texas? That game next year is in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, I guess I see a lot of people like speculating on what this means, and I guess for me too, like that's where it leaves my brain. It's like, why does this just feel like there's still like some behind the scenes? I mean, there has to be behind the scenes conversation to figure this out, but why does it seem like the Oklahoma and Texas are doing their thing and the Big 12 is just totally unaware of what's going on? And maybe it's because the Big 12 doesn't need to be commenting on this because it has nothing to do with them, but I don't know. It just feels like this mystery of like when they, won't they, are they, will, and that's just like, why is that such a mystery? Like, let's just all get on the same page. And I guess they have. They've said, we're waiting out our contract. I've seen comments by Joe Castiglione in Oklahoma, and I think probably to a lesser extent Chris Del Conte in Texas, but it does feel like there's almost this waiting on pins and needles of them to make a surprise announcement like, nope, we're leaving a year early and that kind of thing. So maybe that's just what everybody's anticipating is that it's not going to last that long, but I don't know.
It's split pretty much 50-50 on the chat room about what this news means. And again, it's news, so we're bringing it to you, and then you can also digest it yourself. I heard something earlier today about a comment about sports talk radio, and I think that's probably in a way what we are. I hope we're more than that, and there's nothing wrong with just being sports talk radio because we're on different mediums, that we are here or that someone thinks sports talk radio is on the air to try to tell you what to think. I hope you've never truly thought that, and I'm not saying you've said it, anyone that has sent me a note or whatever, that is absolutely the complete opposite opinion of what we have. We will give you different angles and let you decide for yourself, and that's the way I think it's fair. That's the way that you trust us, and that's also the way we trust you to make up your own decision.
I think that, I mean, that's definitely our model. Like, we don't want to make you feel any other way than entertained. That's all that we do here and informed. But I do think that there are many mediums out there that are set up shows, networks, that their whole thing is they want to make you feel a certain way because they know it's going to make you coming back. For example, if you're on Facebook right now and you are engaging in like an angry, debate, Facebook loves that, and they have skewed their algorithm to make sure that you get angry and stay on Facebook longer so they can show you an ad for sunglasses. Like, that's what they do. So, the cable news wants you to either look at, selling gold or whatever they're doing on CNN because they're trying to make you mad. So you want to be like, I can't believe what that guy who I don't like said. And then I'm going to watch it until you talk about it again.
Yeah,
that's not what we do.
I've always wondered why you may tell somebody, I can't stand watching or listening to you, and then you're there every day. All right, Vernon Sheldon Witter. I do not seriously think any of us trust either Texas or Oklahoma, which is kind of what Paul was saying. Chris, $2 super chat. Texas and OU have already backstabbed the Big 12. No trust. And some of you feel that way. I get it.
And see, that's what I was getting at, is like it feels like the speculation is everybody just waiting for that knife to get pulled out again. And why does it have to be secretive? Yeah. Like, if you're Oklahoma and Texas, if you want to leave next year, just say you're leaving next year. If you want to leave by the end of your contract, just say that. And again, Joe Castiglione, I've seen comments in like the last 3 weeks of we're staying until 2025. I don't trust him as far as I could throw him, and he's a big dude. I couldn't throw him very far. Yeah. So I have very little trust for Joe Castiglione at this point, or Chris Del Conte for that matter. And I know that's where everybody's coming from. My thing is that there shouldn't have to be speculation. Like, it should just be open and acknowledged. If that's the path we're going down, then just say it. Like, there's nothing stopping it ultimately, so
But this
who cares?
is not from Oklahoma. This is from the SEC directing Georgia and Tennessee to not play their home-and-home non-conference series against Oklahoma. So it's not as if Oklahoma made that announcement. So does that matter? Does that make it any difference the way someone might feel?
No, because I wasn't really I mean, like, I know I just said the Castiglione thing, but I'm not saying Oklahoma and Texas are doing this. I'm just saying, like, if there's a plan to try and pull the wool over the eyes again or stab somebody in the back, because that's what everybody speculates. That's why everybody's speculating. That's where that comes from. If that, in fact, is the case, Castiglione, Del Conte, you don't really have to do that.
Would just be revenge
just do it. Like,
just revenge for the bad call against Bama.
I don't think they are. I don't.
No, right, okay, so that's
don't
fine.
Think they are, because they're going to have to write a big-ass check anyway, no matter what.
Right. So
no matter if they try to pull it over their eyes or just say, okay, this is what we're doing, I'll let you know 10 months in advance.
I think the only thing, if they, like, what are they achieving by stabbing him in the back? Just a minor scheduling inconvenience now.
You think you were going to keep us an extra couple of 3 or 4 years?
Houston doesn't get to,
I think, and I think your Mark made this clear as well, that if in fact whatever happens, whether it's 25, which is when it's planned, or if it comes earlier than that, it will be that the SEC, well, they may not even be much involved in this. It will be the Big 12, Texas, Oklahoma, and everyone else working it out. That's the way to do it. Make it work right. You're leaving. Let's make it right for us, and we'll try to make sure you get what you want as well. Goodbye.
But Craig is 1,000,000,000% right in that there's no reason to be nefarious. Like, just
that's well,
exactly,
no, yeah. I agree. But there is that feeling, I think, and again, the chat room is even so. Chris Nelson says he doesn't think it has anything to do with that. Justin, didn't your Mark say that the Big 12 is open for business? What? Who's to say say that a deal hasn't been made already, but only a few people know? SEC would probably keep the Big 12 SEC Sugar Bowl game. Justin, I don't know. It's a good question. I appreciate the chat for us here on 365 Sports.
Well, who knows?
One of the other notes here is that the Alabama-Texas game is going to be played before 25, and the Georgia-Oklahoma and Tennessee-Oklahoma series were expected to go past 25. And maybe that has something to do with the earlier games not happening.
Did you see who they've scheduled in place of Georgia, Oklahoma? SMU. So that's who they will play in place of Georgia on that schedule, apparently. So that ought to be a good little matchup.
That was quick.
Yep.
I wish Tanner Mordecai could play in that game.
Well, hey, NCAA rules, he might. He might be an eighth-year senior by the time it's all said and done. Just file for a waiver, and it'll probably be passed. So, yeah, just go for another waiver, Tanner.
You know who doesn't know their eligibility either? The actual players. I remember asking, we had Squirrel in here, I said, how many more years of eligibility do you have? He goes,
I don't know.
a two?
The COVID year, and then the additional year because things were shut down. And then, of course, there's the red shirt, and then there's it has gotten crazy. Oliver Yost, here's another one. It's because, guys, they won't be able to do the return games as non-conference games later on because they'll be a part of the same conference. So only one team would get the home game. Maybe that has something to do with it. Man, I love it because it brings a lot of discussion about the future.
I want to be very clear. I'm not sitting here going like tinfoil hat. It seems very clear what they're doing. They're just easing the schedule up to be able to make it work when they do join. But you can't avoid that conspiracy theory that comes with it of how are they trying to screw them now? And, how are they? And so all I've been saying is like, there's no reason to. Like, you've already done that. You've already done the knife in the back thing. So, yeah, everything from here on out, whether it's, a move to set up a move or whatever, it should all just be transparent because there's nothing to hide anymore, and that's all I was really getting at. But, yeah, that makes sense totally on the return game and all that comes with that. But at Oklahoma, SMU, who knows where SMU's at that point? They might be in another conference themselves when they roll up to Norman, but that ought to be cool.